If you didn't see the video,
의 여자친구들 스테이. 자, 스테이를 보고 하고 싶은 말 있습니다.
people in the comments were saying that bangchan of Stray Kids has a girlfriend. I'm a huge stay, but also like a normal person who doesn't care who idols date, and I'm also nosy. So let's ask the cards what the tea is. Everything in this video is all alleged for entertainment purposes only, and of course, with peace and love. Oh my gosh. So the Two of Cups talks about sharing of emotions. Sometimes it can talk about a contract as well, especially because the Hierophant is there, and the Hierophant can talk about systems or government and policy, which could be talking about JYP and the company. Nevertheless, the Two of Cups is like a strong relationship card. I feel like, well, maybe I should pull more. Oh, he absolutely has a girlfriend. She's hot, but he doesn't want the fans to know. Obviously, I'm a stay, FYI, but he doesn't want the fans to know. He does genuinely care about the fandom. I think he knows that if he's like, oh, like I have a girlfriend, like that's gonna cause a bit of a rumble, which it shouldn't. Like idols should be able to date, whatever. The Queen of Wands is a woman. She's typically like fiery or very passionate. She's typically very beautiful, sort of in her element. The Two of Wands can indicate somebody that's like thinking about their future or thinking about what they want or trying to take evaluation of where they are now and like what direction to go in. The Lovers, a lot of people see the Lovers and they're like, oh my god, like romance. Lovers can talk about relationships. It often also indicates like a choice. I feel like he's thinking about what he wants in this relationship, and especially within the context of his career because he's a public figure. Especially because the Queen of Wands is looking at him and the Two of Wands is looking at her. And she's sort of sitting in her element. I think she is sort of the one that's more confident or more stable in the relationship. It's almost like he has a choice. She seems pretty like stable in the relationship, but for some reason he's questioning himself, or maybe the relationship in and of itself. I think because he's really busy, he wants to leave the relationship, or it causes some sort of friction in the relationship. The High Priestess is like your inner self, your inner guidance system. Eight of Cups is like walking away from something, leaving something behind, or like the need to, especially if it's like an emotional problem, an internal problem. The Queen of Swords, who is she pointing at though? Oh, she's really urging him to make a choice. I don't know if it's like he feels, okay, this is what I'm picking up on, and it's okay if I'm wrong, because we don't know any of this, but it seems like she's urging him to make a choice. I feel like she's also kind of dissatisfied in this relationship. Not with him necessarily, but more like his lifestyle. I think it's like he travels a lot, or this might not even really be related to him being like a K-pop idol, but in some way she's like dissatisfied, I think, kind of with his indecision. Like there's something he needs to like make up about. Like here's an example. Let's say he travels a lot because he is always on tour or something like that, and he's very busy and he doesn't have enough time for her. And she's sort of like, well, like you knew from the beginning this was what it would take to like date me. Like I want you to text me every day or something like that. And he like goes back and forth of like, well, like I am really busy because he's really devoted to his career, but also he really loves her. And so he like waffles a lot and doesn't quite know how to like handle the relationship or balance all of the responsibilities in his life. When, again, this is just an example. It doesn't have to be the case. She's honestly, I would love to know who she is because she seems really cool. She seems like a particularly balanced person. I think she's really passionate. I think she has outbursts sometimes, but in general seems like a particularly healthy and like stable person. She's also very good with her words. And it seems like she's almost imploring him to make a decision. He hasn't, not like a decision like we either leave or like we either break up or you like fix this, but more like an urging him to balance, especially because you have the Two of Pentacles right there, which is sort of like trying to balance the ebbs and flows of your life. I think Bangchan is honestly a workaholic. I think that kind of is a stem of their relationship. To be honest though, it absolutely seems like he is in a relationship with somebody. And I think they've been together a while. I don't think it's like a super long relationship. Like I would be surprised if they weren't together more than 3 years. If anything, it feels more around a year. The Six of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the King of Wands. She I think she cares about him. I think she's also kind of tired, or like she needs to move on. I feel like she has the urge to move on from something having to do with the relationship, and it doesn't necessarily mean the relationship in its entirety or bangchan in its entirety, but more like she's like, should we just like drop the issue? Like, it's almost like she expects that he's not going to necessarily change. He's struggling. He's truly like struggling, I think, to balance something in their relationship. It has to do with communication. I feel really strongly about that. Like, they don't talk as much as she wants to, or as much as, or there's like a lack of communication, or they don't see each other enough. And I think if you're like kind of like a weird fan that's kind of possessive, you're like, but you know, like he should work so much. And it's like, well, the cards are indicating that bangchan has like an imbalance when it comes to work. Bangchan showed up as the King of Wands, and I think his sign is a Libra, which is more of an air sign. He also could be the Queen of Swords, but that feels very her-coded, I'll be honest with you. The King of Wands is somebody who's very fiery, passionate, which I guess could explain him, especially when it comes to his career. I think he's trying to find ways to figure it out. I feel like the company isn't particularly against him dating anybody, but they're very wary of bangchan just because I think this relationship's good for them, both of them. I mean, obviously we have no clue if this is even real. I'm just a tarot reader, but it seems like a relationship that's very healing for both of them. They're pretty well suited for each other. I can't necessarily say if they're like soulmates, but they're well suited for each other, or at the very least they've shown each other and taught each other things. The Justice in the upright position says that this is a fairly balanced relationship. The Page of Swords, though, gives me the indication that there's like some sort of struggle with communication. The Ace of Wands, the birth of something new. I think sometimes she does influence what like goes into the songs, like she's a muse for him. A rebirth, the King of Pentacles, the choice, a subconscious choice. But I feel like in some way this relationship's very transformative to him. It's odd because there's like this underlying like subconscious thing. I think in some ways bangchan is questioning almost like his career, not necessarily like he's not happy being in Stray Kids or working as a K-pop idol or whatever, or even like the musical direction, but more like it just takes a lot of his personal time to like commit to the bit, you know? And so I feel like he sometimes questions like if he should pull back a little bit and focus more on his personal life. But he also really enjoys work. He is, I think, honestly, sensing an imbalance in like his workaholism, which he'll have to address at some point. Oh, he'll make a choice. It doesn't have to be like a bad thing. Something is going to happen related to like his career, and that might not even be really visible to the fans necessarily, but he'll have to change or in some way like balance how much he works. It almost seems like he's burning himself out, I'll be honest. And like he's preventing himself in some other area of his life developmentally. Like it's spiritually, or if it's like in terms of relationships in his life, which don't have to be romantic. It could be with like his friends or his family. But in some way, it's like he works a lot almost to avoid those things. Something that he needs to be working on or growing on like spiritually, he's not though. He, I think, uses work as a distraction.